This tutorial continues on from the creating an animated character step-by-step tutorial, so please see that tutorial from the link in the description if you haven't already. Switch into modeling mode. We don't want the grid distracting us, so click Grid and uncheck Show. And we don't want the other side of the control cage confusing us, so click this button to Z-buffer the control cage. This makes for a good view to insert a control line going up the leg. We don't want the line going into the arm, so move the cursor until we see it crossing over to the opposite leg. Click to establish the start of the line. Click here to divert the line up the torso, and click here to divert the line to the opposite side. With an appropriate view for the back, insert a line for the back the same way we did for the front. Click this button to select a ring and select this ring in the head, and then click OK to make the selected points form a perfect circle, and do the same for the other ring in the head. Insert a new ring in the middle of the head. And then click this point and click Extrude. Click Spiderweb Center and then click Done. These little rings we've made on the left and right sides of the head will go on to form the ears. We want to rotate the top of the head so that it ends up being the face. To do this, select the top, drag the pivot point to here and rotate it about this much. Now select everything down to include the earrings and rotate. Now select everything down to the base ring of the head and rotate it until the front of the face is orientated how we want it. Now is a good time to insert two lines going into the ears to help form the crown and the back of the head. Modify the head points to form a more head-like shape. To unselect points with the rectangle selection tool, hold down the Ctrl and Shift keys. At this stage, it may help us to make the rings for the ears form a perfect circle using the Ring Select tool. With a good view to insert a control line into the back of the arm, begin the line so that it runs directly to the opposite arm. Click to establish the start of the line and then click here to divert the line up the neck and then click Done. With a good view to insert a control line into the front of the arm, begin the line so that it runs directly to the opposite arm. Click to establish the start of the line. Click here to divert the line up the neck, and then click here to divert the line up to help form the forehead before clicking Done. To round out the rings in the neck, select the rings and use the Calculate Ring tool. We can also use the Calculate Ring tool for the torso rings with some stretching. When using the Calculate Ring tool for the arms and legs, we want to make sure none of the rings are left twisted, like this ring for example. We need to rotate it at an appropriate view to align it with the rest of the rings. It can help to temporarily turn off the Z buffer for the control cage to ensure all of the selected points are shown. To bend the ends of the legs to form the feet, we need to insert extra rings. The lever tool can be reset to a right angle by clicking a Set Orientation View button. Because the other leg can block our view when dragging points on the inside of a leg, it can help to hide all of the model except for the one limb we want to work on. To do this, first select the foot with the Rectangle Selection tool and then click the piggy. To see all of the model again, click the piggy again. To show all of the control cage, click the bunny. Before lengthening the legs to make the feet reach the ground, we need to show the grid again. Let's now add some mitten-like hands. Before extruding a point to add thumbs, we need to insert 3 rings at the ends of our arms. Click this point and extrude. Check the Spiderweb Center checkbox, increase the insertions to 2 and increase the distance. Let's flatten the last ring for the thumb and move the base ring up a little closer. Let's rotate the thumb up a little without rotating the rest of the hand. Knowing the thumb is made from a single patch at this stage, because we've only recently extruded it, we can easily hide all of the control cage except for the thumb by selecting a point in the thumb and clicking this button. Now it's very easy to select only the thumb points using the Rectangle Selection tool. OK, let's now flatten the hand a little and make our wrist look more like a wrist. The thumb wants to be rotated forward from this view. If we find it awkward rotating our view when working on some part of our model, especially when we're zoomed in a lot, click a point and then click this button to make our view pivot around the point. I habitually use this feature all the time. Being mindful to keep our model simple, I think it's worth inserting one more ring to help form the shape of the hands. So long as we keep saving our model, we can feel free to experiment dragging points from different view orientations. Because Seamless 3D now makes a backup every time we save, if we decide we don't like what we've done after saving our file, we can go back to a previous file we saved, which can be found in the same folder as the file we're working on. Inserting an extra ring in the thumbs can help give the hands a more artistic look. When zooming in on a point like this, I hold down the Control key while clicking on the point, so that I cannot accidentally drag the point. We only need to insert 2 more rings to form some simple ears. With 3 rings like this, all we have to do now is select the middle ring and drag it out a little. Perhaps these simple ears have an Android look about them, but I like how they look and I love how simple they are. You can make them look a little more natural by dragging these points in and maybe dragging these points out a little more. You can of course insert more rings to add greater complexity, but it is generally a lot easier to make appealing models when we keep our shapes simple. If we go into Home or Animation mode, we'll see our model horribly deformed. This is the result of inserting extra control lines into our model. To fix this, first go into Modeling mode to get rid of the deformed monstrosity, then go into Paint Color Coded Control Points mode and reapply the ownership of the bones to the control points. When it's difficult to select the control points for one foot without selecting control points from the other foot, we can make it easier by going into modeling mode and hiding all the patches except for the foot we have selected.